And welcome. Finally on. Jo Duke here from the Caloundra Regional Gallery, and we're very excited to have one of our artists from the Sunshine Coast National Art Prize 2024 on the screen to have a chat with us, David Creed. If you've been in to see the show, you will know his work. It's phenomenal. It's 100 fashion dilemmas in his persona for the DC style files, and he gives all these fabulous suggestions to cope with fashion problems you have. But that's one of his actual ways he makes art. But first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the country that I'm sitting in, which is the fabulous Gubbi Gubbi and Jinnabara people's country of the Sunshine Coast. The most beautiful place on earth, I feel. We're really lucky that we have a really strong connection with the First Nation peoples here, who have such a connection emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, with this country that's never been, removed from them, and they have this amazing connection. So I want to recognize their elders that are past and the elders that are here now, and share their culture both with the upcoming elders and with us. So welcome, David. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
That was a very long and involved and torturous entry into the discussion. And you're not based, well, you grew up in Brisbane, but you're
I
now
did.
in Melbourne?
Yeah, I grew up in Brisbane. Yeah, mostly grew up in Brisbane, and then
Yeah.
I moved to Melbourne maybe 6 years ago or seven
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
So I'll give a bit of a quick blurb on David. So David is a Melbourne-based artist who works in a variety of medium, including video, performance, painting, installation, and sculpture. He frequently collaborates with others. He did a Bachelor of Arts majoring in English and sorry, I can't say it. From the
Sociology.
University
Yeah.
of Queensland, yep, in 2004, and then went on to complete a Bachelor of Fine Arts with honours, first class at QCA at Griffith in 2008. You've exhibited all over, but Fringe Festival in Melbourne in 2020, QUT Art Museum, Brisbane, Kick Arts, Contemporary Arts in Cairns, the Bundaberg Regional Art Gallery in 2008. So you've been exhibiting for quite a while. But you also, since I think around 2016, have run an online fashion blog called the DC Style. And how do you say the last word?
Files.
Files with a
Yeah,
Y,
it's got a
because it's
different
very,
spelling, but it's
yes.
yeah.
And that's part of the work, I guess, that we have on the floor. And you regularly, you're like an agony aunt, I guess, who
Mm.
solves all the viewers' dilemmas on fashion. And your videos are regularly uploaded to YouTube, and you can see that obviously on your website, which is www.davidcreed.com.au. But you also have also involved in what's called the Wandering Room, which is an artist-run initiative with Angelina, is it Rosotto?
Oh,
Rosotto?
Angela Rosito.
Rosito, yep,
Yeah.
sorry, and Sarah, which was started in 2008.
Yeah, we started in 2008 with
Yep,
Sarah Workmeister, but it's
yeah.
just me and Angela now.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
now? Okay,
yeah.
and you don't have a fixed site. You sort of go exists in a concept, and you roam around to different occupying temporary spaces.
We did, yeah, that's how we started it, because we didn't have a space and we knew that we couldn't afford one. So we just sort of moved around and went from place to place. But we've been kind of lucky lately here in Melbourne that we have
Mm.
a kind of an ongoing space. Like, I guess it's my house, but I live in an ex-milk bar
That's
and we
nice.
have a garage gallery space at the back.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
lovely. That's great. But you also have a collaboration with Dave, which is called David and David, which is yourself and David is a Spooner.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
Spooner. Yeah.
And David's a well-known Brisbane artist. People
Yep.
probably do know him. And you do lots of physical and mental endurance challenges, which I found really interesting. Is that like painting for 48 hours without a break, or?
We would maybe try that, but we like we haven't done anything for a few couple years because only a couple, I guess, because I've been here down here in Melbourne and
Yeah.
he's been up there. But we used to do a lot of big long walks. Like we
Oh, okay.
often tried to walk from Brisbane to the Gold Coast,
Right.
sometimes successfully, sometimes we didn't really make it, and sort of ended in disaster. But that's kind of that's the sort of physical challenges that we used to do. And then we also
Right.
would paint each other often on the same
Portraits.
canvas,
Yeah.
put a line down the middle, and we'd paint each other's portrait.
And would one person paint and then send it to the other person and they'd paint, or you'd be
Uh,
in the same studio painting at the same time? That would be an extraordinarily hard
yeah,
experience, I'd
yeah,
imagine.
no, that's what we did.
Oh my
We
goodness.
would paint it on the same canvas. Dave would draw paint a line down the middle,
Yeah.
sort of giving each other our territories.
Mm.
And then we would sort of paint each other, looking at each other at the same time.
And would it be would it be a speed paint, or would it be over a couple of days? Or
I guess like more of a speed paint. I mean,
okay.
not that we were racing, but
Yeah.
always done in one session. So,
Yeah.
like an hour or two.
Well, you work across mediums. Do you have a favorite one that you particularly like?
Uh, I guess like I mean, I like working with soft materials. I guess that's why I like doing the fashion blog because I like
Mm.
textiles um, and that kind of thing. But I guess I tend to think that I like performance now. That's seems to be something that keeps coming back with all different sorts of projects. So lately, I've been starting to call myself a performance artist more than
All
anything
right.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. You do your performances fabulously, and obviously the one that we have in the exhibition is it's one of the four mediums that we've got on the floor. I'm just doing a count in my head, make sure I didn't forget any. But each artist used the medium in a different way, and I really like how yours is this sort of documentary of performance, but has this underlying issue about fast fashion and all of that really, quite deep conversation about what we do with fashion and how it's one of the most, problematic issues for in the 21st century, throwaway clothes and buying new clothes and all of that. And so I actually really like that you use humor as a way of sort of discussing that. Have I picked that up correctly? Have I got the
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally. I mean, I guess I like humor. Maybe it's my way of engaging with things. So I often
Mm,
have a bit of humor coming into my work,
yeah.
and I can't really help that, I suppose. Um, and then, yeah, but underneath that, I guess there are themes about DIY fashion
Yeah.
and doing it yourself, and uh, maybe uh, not consuming clothes. It's a big problem.
It
Fast
is.
fashion and it causes a lot of environmental problems. So I guess that's sort of there underneath the humor of the work.
Yes, very much. And it's very topical at the moment, obviously. And lots of people are looking to revamp the wardrobe by re-engaging with their fabrics in a different way. I know my daughter, who's 14, does that. So she's got jeans and she's made them into, skirts and all of those things, much to my surprise,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's like, you'd think they'd want to go out, she'd want to go out and shop, so it's really good. And I have to say, I was on holidays recently and I was in a shopping center and I thought, oh, I should go buy something, and then I thought of your work. I went, no, I should just reuse something of mine.
Right.
So yeah, so it's great. So that one obviously is a reoccurring, is it a character you put on, or is it, do you, your persona, is that part of
Uh,
the, obviously, the performance?
yeah, it's definitely a persona. I mean, I don't know how much difference there is between me and my persona. DC is the persona.
Yeah,
Definitely like sunglasses instead of prescription glasses
yeah.
is DC, but I think, and I don't know how much else is different. But that's how it started. That I was kind of doing fashion blogging or video blogging
Oh, okay.
in 2016, and
Mm,
or a friend suggested it, um, and then I started making a few videos, and I just did it in this style of BC, who is wearing sunglasses and maybe is similar to me, but maybe a little bit of an extension
mm.
from me.
Yeah, a little bit of a flamboyant, I would suggest. There's a bit
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Yeah, and quite, I like that when you're doing the performances, you cross gender and all of those really great things, like, clothes don't have a gender unless we decide that. So there's
Yeah.
some really great subtext within in the work, which I really enjoy. I do have questions that I'm supposed to ask, and I'm
Uh-huh.
being
Yeah.
flagged. Don't forget the
Uh,
questions. So I guess how and when did you first become interested in art?
I guess I was oh I always liked art in high school.
Mm,
I liked drawing and then I did do art like as a subject when I was in year 12 and then I kind of liked photography at the time.
right.
They had a dark room at our school and
Oh, I love a dark room.
it was really yeah kind of it's quite romantic like the dark room
Mm,
and seeing the image appear on the photos and I really liked that. Um, and then I didn't go to art school after high school. I went to London and did a working holiday uh, kind of thing, and then I just went to a lot of galleries there, and then after a couple of years, I sort of decided, I think I want to try out art school, and sort of seemed like something that I should do.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
but you did first you did majoring in English and at the University of Queensland. Was
yeah,
that
that was
straight
sort
after
of
school or
yeah straight after school, but then it kind of it took me 10 years to do that degree. Actually, I sort of took my time, and I went overseas, and
and
then
went
came back
overseas
and
and yeah,
started my art degree, and then yeah, so.
yeah, and decided rather do art than English. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
enjoyed both, but I think yeah, it just took me a while to get decide to do the art thing.
yeah. I have what is your favorite media to work in and why?
Mhm.
You sort of mentioned that you're moving more into performance and that documenting of performance becomes the art piece. Us,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the grand cultural institutions are still not struggling with it, but we love that performance art now has a finished piece that we can then show because often performance artists would not document there it was a happening and then that would be it, and it was always a little bit frustrating. You'd have to do photos or so. It's wonderful that you've looked at this sort of character that you've created and the conversation you want to have and made it into the artwork itself. Do you script it? Is it
Yeah, I don't really script it. I did for a little bit because it sort of saved time,
mm,
but it kind of loses a bit of spontaneity when I script it, I think. So
mm. Do you
I
just have a
just sort of
pile of clothes that you just pull on and
yeah,
change and
uh yeah, I've got the idea, I guess, like I've made so someone's approached me with a fashion dilemma and then I have
ah,
so it sort of comes through social media and
oh, okay,
people give me their fashion dilemma and then
wonderful.
I come up with a solution. So then I've got something to talk about in the video, which is the solution, and I just
Yeah.
put that on or talk about it, and
Mm.
that's about as far as it gets with a
So
script.
someone did really want to know how to make their Ugg boots more fancy.
Yeah, yeah. Every dilemma is a real dilemma.
Oh, okay. That's
It's
great.
come from a person who yeah has contacted me
So even this
and given me
character
that.
is really collaborative. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
actually responding to communication that you've got from one of your public.
Yeah, I think it's like the
That's lovely.
interaction that sort of keeps it going. It's like the motivation for yeah, it keeps the project going and keeps me motivated and
Yeah.
it's
Do they ever come
yeah.
back and say, yes, it worked? I did do that.
uh I mean no I mean often like I guess I don't necessarily come up with a practical solution for them that solves their dilemma.
Oh, I don't know. Well, some of them were quite good, I thought.
Yeah,
The
I mean
umbrella I thought was really good.
yeah, but then they might create other problems, like they just
Yeah.
look too eccentric or there's
Yeah.
other problems that they kind of create. So
Yeah.
with my
All right.
yeah,
No, no, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say with the solution, I'm just sort of trying to maybe explore the idea of fashion and sort of make people and myself think differently about fashion.
Yeah. And it definitely does that. And they are a lot of the garments that you end up structuring are almost like soft sculptural pieces as well. So I think that's really interesting. And you just use your body as the armature, I think,
Yep, yep.
to support it, which is
Yep.
wonderful. I guess what has been the greatest influence for your work?
I would probably say collaboration has been. I mean, when I finished university, I finished my Bachelor of Fine Arts at Queensland College of Art, and then uh, as I was leaving, I got involved in lots of collaborations with
Mm,
a few different artists, and it was a good way of working with a good way of keeping yourself motivated, I think, and
yeah,
continuing your practice. I was in a group called the Crash Crew, and we used to
I like it.
there were three of us, and we started off sort of smashing things like, but then we were doing kind of dancing in public space.
Oh, nice.
And this was just as YouTube was sort of becoming a thing. So,
Mm. So
uh,
around 2009 or so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so that was yeah. And then I also had a few other collaborations, like with David doing the painting
yeah.
and
So
the
you've been
wandering
collaborating with him since 2009, around 2009. Because did he study with
mm,
you? Was he one of your colleagues at the art
he was a
school?
little bit, he was doing masters and I was
Ah,
doing
okay.
bachelor or honors or something, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, we might have started collaborating around then.
Mm,
Um, and I guess I just think collaboration always it sort of is the spark that uh, gives you a different way of looking at things
mm.
and sort of gives your art practice takes it in a different direction.
Yeah,
So I think that's
definitely.
why it's been really influential with my practice.
I found when you leave the art school, because during that time you're in this little bubble where you work in a studio with other students and you've got lecturers and you've got people that you can talk to and bounce ideas off. And
Mm,
often when you come out, you become quite isolated unless you go into another studio. So yeah, it'd be a
yeah,
really nice
yeah,
idea that you still keep this collaboration activity happening because it gives you that energy, I would suspect.
yeah, and it's social too. It sort of gives you
Yeah.
this social aspect to making art. So
Yeah,
yeah,
which is something that can be quite important, I think.
yeah.
What would you describe as your most memorable moment in your career so far?
Um, Yeah, I thought about this question. I don't really see my career in terms of moments, or I don't really have a 10-year plan or think, oh, in 5 years I need to be in this place or
Yeah.
in that place. I kind of yeah, so I don't really look back and think, this is a memorable achievement or
Mm,
moment. Maybe more than that is just being able to continue my practice. Like that's kind of more of an achievement is just keeping going and
yeah,
finding a way to uh,
to
yeah
do that.
juggle yeah getting a job and having a part-time job and doing my
Yeah.
work in the studio and just sort of keeping it going for such a long time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you're doing really well. It's over 10 years and you're still making. That's really good. And you have your studio in your garage,
Yeah, I
as a lot
do.
of people do.
Yeah, I live in an ex-milk bar.
Oh, how lovely.
We
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
we rented here and with my partner.
Mm,
And we have the area at the front is the shop or the X shop, and
mm,
so we have a studio out there,
nice.
and then I have like a studio at the back, which becomes a gallery. That's like a
Yeah.
garage, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you ever think about opening those front windows and being, practicing in place as almost like a performance unto itself?
I do actually.
Mm.
I have I have a TV in the window,
Oh,
and I
nice.
always play the latest episode of the DC Style Files
Oh,
in the
lovely.
window. So
Yeah. Do
yeah,
people stop and watch?
yeah, there's conveniently a chair on the footpath just in front of the
Handy.
window, and people seem to yeah they do seem to watch
Oh, that's great. That's
and
amazing.
yeah, and it's been like for I guess we've been here for maybe 4 years, so that's been almost the entire time. I just kept it sort of
Wow.
updated and rolling. So
So
yeah,
how often would you do a performance in that character?
When I started, I was doing an episode a week,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I sort of made it 2 weeks, and then it just became too much. So
That's
now I
a
sort of
lot.
do it as I, I yeah, I have sort of changed the format a bit. I used to do it on YouTube, but now I do it on Instagram, and it's a bit easier. I just shoot it with my mobile phone.
Oh,
But
okay.
still, I only do it every maybe 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah, yeah. Do you intercede that with painting or sculpture or other making?
Yeah, I have I still do a bit of painting. Like I have a kind of it's a bit of an endurance project as well that I try to do a painting on Sundays, so
Okay.
as a kind of Sunday painter. And
Yep,
for me, that just means that I have to produce one painting every Sunday.
yep.
And so
Are you, is it of any subject or it's just whatever takes
um,
your fancy on the Sunday?
it's whatever I think of at the moment. Yeah, it's
Okay.
more about just producing than coming up with an idea and
Yeah. Do you
executing
have a
it. Yeah.
size requirement or?
No, not really. I guess I don't know. I just think that painting is something that you can actually sell, and
Mm.
rather than a video, it's a lot easier to sort of,
Yep,
people might actually buy it
yep,
if you make it cheap enough. And so that's why I was doing the Sunday painter thing. But at least I'm working with a medium that has the potential
yep.
to be sold. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so I was finding I just was painting on little bits of wood actually.
All
Um,
right, nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you show them at your gallery. Are you currently got a gallerist?
No, I don't. My gallery would be the Wandering Room, which is our
Oh, yep,
artist-run space, which
yep.
luckily the Wandering Room uh, lets us show in our own space.
Yeah, nice that.
Yeah, occasionally.
No
Yeah.
conflict of interest there.
No.
That's great. And so okay, so I better go back to my questions. So what are you currently working on? You know, on Sundays you do a painting. Every
Yeah,
2 to 3 weeks you do a performance piece.
yeah.
Other
Um,
stuff?
I kind of had a little bit of a break from solving people's fashion dilemmas lately.
Mhm.
So on my blog, I've just been doing, I call it Fashion Friday. It's like it just happens on a Friday, and I just make a little video that I post as a reel on Instagram, and
Mm,
that's either just showing what I'm making in the studio with in relation to fashion,
hmm
or maybe just talking about some thoughts about fashion, or it's kind of open, I guess. And
Right.
I've just been
And that's
posting
every
this
Friday.
not every Friday, every
Ah,
couple of weeks, yeah.
every couple of weeks.
Some
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Fridays, not every
Yeah, yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of a way to just keep up the momentum with the fashion blog, but also I guess maybe it'll take me in a different direction. And I'm not sure what'll happen with that, but I
Okay.
just sort of wanted to give Fashion Dilemmas a little break for a
Yeah.
bit.
I
Yeah.
notice you do quite a lot of fringe festivals and those, and you've done some residencies. Do you enjoy doing the residencies when you go to another country? Is that something that invigorates, I guess, the way you think and make?
Yeah, doing residencies are really fun. I haven't done one for a little while, but
Mm,
yeah, like I did one in Iceland and
yes,
one in New
and
Zealand, and yeah, it's pretty fun. You're kind of excited because you're in another place and
mm,
you're taking everything in, and it really inspires you to make a bit of art, I think.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so what is the one piece of advice that has stuck with you?
Um, Again, I don't know if it's a difficult one to answer because I think I must have been given advice when I was younger, and
Mm.
whether I listened or took it in or I'm not sure
Yeah.
because I was trying to think and nothing really stands out. I mean, I must
Mm.
have been given some and it was probably really good, but maybe it's more in the nature of my DIY practice that I've kind of just sort of, I don't know, tried to make art the way I wanted to, or, without sort of following any
rules or
particular graphs or
regulations.
rules. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's, yeah, maybe that's it. I can't really think of anything. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. So when
Yeah.
you were in at QCA, did you you were doing new media, so you were always looking at that sort of moving image as a way of doing your art? And did you do a secondary in painting, or
No, I
was
just
it
did new
just
media.
okay?
And new media was, I guess for us at the time, it
Was
was kind
very
of
new.
video. Yeah,
Mm,
video and projection.
yeah,
And then if you're a bit more technical, which I wasn't really, you might do something like with sensors or
yeah,
electronics, but I never really did much of that. I sort of more saw it as video, and then you'd project onto something, and then the image would sort of change
yeah,
depending on what you were projecting onto, and that was what we called new media, or at least
yeah.
that's how I saw it. And I think that's what started the performance,
Okay,
documenting the performance, because
yeah,
um,
yeah, because
I'd be
it's
doing
finished and
something and then video it,
yeah.
and
I can remember and I can't because I worked at Griffith for a while, so I think I was there from 2005 until 2000 and um, uh, 13 or something. And I can remember Ian Burns, I think it was Ian
mm,
Burns, did a
mm,
performance of the dancing plastic bag
yeah,
using
yeah,
air fans and sensors, and the bag got caught in a wind sort of velocity and danced across a fake brick wall that he'd painted because he wanted
mm,
to, revisit that very famous photograph. And then he filmed that. And I was thinking, God, this is pretty cutting edge
yeah.
back then. And so I was. Did you study under him, or was he? Because I think he was a
Yeah,
pro adjunct professor or something at the time.
he was doing his PhD exhibition.
Oh,
This
okay,
was I was there doing my honors, I think, and
right,
he came and he had to do his exhibition, and he made everything in 1 month or so.
yeah,
And it was
yep,
amazing. He was really really generous with his time and talking to us, and I helped he employed me to help make a artwork for that show.
oh, okay,
I had
huh.
to I had to sort of make some sentences. I can't really remember now, but I had to take Britney Spears, words from Britney Spears songs, and then
Yeah.
sort of put them into sentences to say, to sort of say this art truism that I can't remember who said it first, but yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh,
that's
nice.
so yeah, I was quite inspired by his show, and he's definitely a lot more technical than I was,
Yeah, he
and
he was
yeah,
pretty amazing. Because
yeah,
Griffith also have well, Queensland College of Art has a Nathan campus has a really amazing video collection from really early, from 1978 upwards, and
yeah,
they have a quite a extraordinary. And I did an exhibition called I can't remember, art rage videos that were
yeah,
done in the early 90s,
yeah.
because it was quite pivotal at that time. And then it sort of quietened down, and now it seems like moving image has become really just another, medium that artists use to tell stories and to get people to think. And I think your work is fabulous in the show because it definitely does that, and has been one of the favorites, I think, of people watching, because they just stand, to get an audience to stay in front of anything for longer
Mm,
than 5 to 10 seconds is pretty amazing. So
mm,
we have lots of age groups, which is also really nice, standing and looking at the work and really
mm.
having a bit of a laugh because it's such a great piece. So
Oh, that's nice.
congratulations on that.
Oh, thank
I'm just
you.
trying to see
Yeah.
if we have audiences. So there's no audience questions at the moment, but they may come on later, and
Mm.
we might get you just to have a look at those and answer anything. So
Yeah.
when you paint, do you use acrylic or oil, or is it
Um,
just whatever you've got?
I use oil.
Oh,
Um,
you're an oil painter.
yeah,
Wow.
I
Okay.
think I did. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like oils a bit better. The way that you can sort of move the paint around, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one up behind you? Is that one of your portraits?
Yeah, that's a David.
That's a David
David.
David. Has it got a
Yeah.
line down the middle? Because
I
I
can
do
show
know
you
on your
it
website
actually.
you've got a couple. Yes, it does.
There's the
Look at
line. Yeah, it
that.
was a bit of an unusual one because it's
Yeah, upside down.
And it was two sittings too. There's like
Yeah,
the canvas
that's
was quite
great.
big, and I think we did two sittings on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really interesting project. And um, so you were talking about your partner before. Are they an artist as well?
Yeah, Jamie Mumford is my partner, and
Yeah.
yeah, she is an artist, and she's a jeweler as well, and so
Oh, okay. So she
yeah.
gets to put some work in the Wandering Room. It's
No,
not
not
it's
so
just not
much.
yours. Aha.
No, occasionally, but yeah,
Yeah.
she has been just making jewelry for a while, but she's just sort of gone back to sculpture
Just.
very recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
not
just
just,
jewelry.
but
Not just
yeah,
jewelry.
no,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
And she's a sculptor as well. Do you do many sculptures or is it really just sculpturing with the textile pieces?
Me, occasionally, I guess maybe with collaboration, I might have done sculptures, but
Mm. But really your mode of making at this point in time is really this performance and documenting moving image. Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Oh, I haven't spoken to an artist who uses this medium so predominantly in their practice. So that's
Mm.
great. Have you got any future plans, I guess, that you're looking towards? Is it just still working on the fashion, or have you got some other things that you're thinking about?
I have just re-enrolled in university. I'm doing a
Oh,
Masters of
okay.
Fine Art in at RMIT,
Right.
and so that's just sort of happened really quickly, uh, and
You look a
yeah,
bit
so
worried about it,
no,
can I
no,
say?
no, no, I'm not too worried about it yet, but it might be a different direction, I guess. I
Okay.
don't really have any plans actually for my art practice,
All
but
right.
through this Masters of Fine Art, I'm sort of trying a few different things. I'm doing some material experiments with textiles and then seeing
Nice.
what will happen with them. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of sort of keeping an open mind at the
Right.
moment and seeing where this degree will take me.
Wow,
Yeah,
that sounds so exciting. So is
yeah.
that a full time, part time,
Part-time for me.
part time,
So yeah, so it'll take ages,
part time
probably.
practice, part time job? It's
Yeah, yep,
you're running
yep,
out of part
yep,
times for
yeah,
yourself.
yep.
Um, so I guess we probably have to close really soon. We still don't. I can't see any questions from the audiences, but I'm sure they'll probably come online later. It's been such a joy chatting to you. Um, can I ask, do you start with the thoughts and then work? Do you have a concept, or does the concept come to you as you play with stuff? So, were you wanting to talk about with your fashion and DC? Was it about environmental issues and that idea of fast fashion and all of that? Is that what started it, or
No, I don't think so. I think the playing with it sort of brought that out. I mean,
okay?
I guess that's probably a part of my who I am is that I don't really well I don't take part in fast fashion
Mm,
and that and that's just I guess part of how I do fashion.
right.
And so but then when I started the DC style files, I wasn't really thinking explicitly that it would be that would be the message of the
Yeah.
blog, but it's sort of come out over the time as I
Yeah.
make things, and I guess the way I do it is that I often get materials. Always, I get materials from Curbside Collection, and
Oh,
so
okay.
there's that
Right.
recycling that's part of the project
Yep.
from the beginning,
Yep.
and yeah, so I think that those sort of ideas came out with practice.
Ah, okay. I've just got a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any aspirations to participate in Fashion Week and walk the catwalk?
Uh, I would kind of like to, yeah. I haven't been invited yet.
And you do so beautifully when you do your twirls. I think you do
Yeah,
it
I
really
know.
well.
I know. I
All
think my
right. So,
12s would be really good for Fashion Week, but I'm still
yeah.
just waiting for the invitation.
Ugh, they're just got
Yeah.
to get themselves organized. So you'd be
Yeah.
fabulous as a show opener or a closer.
Mhm.
Particularly, I didn't see any fabulous wedding dress solutions,
Mhm.
but I think you could probably come up with some, quick fashioned wedding dress
Yep.
and
I have
veil.
one. Yep.
Oh, you have
Yep.
one? I have no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yep.
Then you could close the show for them. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yep.
think, is there anything else you'd like to add, David?
No, that's about it. Just sorry for my husky voice. I got
No, that's
hay
okay.
fever. Yeah,
Yeah.
but um,
And it's cold, cold. How is it in Melbourne? Is it miserable and cold?
it's like in between that, like in
No.
between nice and miserable. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
yeah,
As
yeah,
Melbourne usually is. So,
yep, yep.
do you miss Queensland? Because you grew up in Queensland. Do you miss
Yeah, I
Queensland?
really miss Queensland. I kind of romanticize it, and I really like
Yes.
visiting because my family is still in Queensland.
Right.
Yeah, I often come to Brisbane and stay with my mum there, and
Yeah. Well, the weather's
and
much nicer up here, obviously,
it's
and the
much
people are pretty
nicer.
fabulous, and
Yeah,
yeah.
people are
Yeah.
not and really nice. Um,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I think that might be it. It doesn't seem to be any more questions. There's nothing that you want to tell your audiences other than, go with your
Um,
heart
yeah, go with your
and
heart,
your needle.
and your needle. Yep, and take it one stitch at a time.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure to chat to you, David.
yeah,
I think it's really interesting your practice, and I'll be interested to see what happens after another stint of study and being allowed to experiment and have that time to push mediums and thoughts and the way you think. And I'll be quite keen to see what happens on YouTube coming through, I guess.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time and have a really great rest of the day. I will flag with people that, of course, the Art Award announcements are happening on Thursday night. I'm not sure if you're coming. I think you were unable to, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but if people are in town and do want to come, there's still some tickets available. So please jump online. Can't wait to see who's won. So Julie Ewington has kept it very close to her chest. So I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And we'll be really keen to see who the winner of that, because it's a beautiful show. It's a shame you didn't get up to come and see it, because it's a
Yeah,
spectacular exhibition,
yeah,
and just the use of different mediums that are in it, and yours in particular as well. The moving images are spectacular. So have a
yeah.
great rest of the day, everybody, and thank you again, David, and
Oh,
have a great
thank you for having
afternoon.
me. Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
And if you've got any questions, please put them on our Facebook, and David will, over the next couple of days, answer them. We'll just keep nagging
yeah,
him in a
yeah,
gentle way.
yeah. Mhm.
All right. Thanks, David.
Okay. Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.